to today's reading. If you're not from my Instagram, you don't know what this reading is about, this is for your shadow self or your ego or your subconscious or whatever you like to call it. This is basically for people that they either behave in ways that they don't like or they act out in ways that they later regret. This is kind of to show you why you act this way or why you behave this way or why you just do the things that you do. So this is kind of like digging into your subconscious, kind of interviewing your ego, your shadow self, just to kind of see what you're going through. So we have our 3 piles here, 1, 2, and 3. And before I get to the reading, I just want to go over the spread real quick. So we have our self-care oracle cards. This is self-care for things that you can incorporate into your daily routine, or this can be something that you can do if you feel tempted to go in that direction, or if you feel like you're about to act in this way, or you just need some time off. So this is what you can do. You also have our sacred affirmation cards. We also have our affirmation cards, which also act as, for me at least, they act as clarifiers for the readings, but they can also be messages from your guides or your higher self, or just general affirmations if that works for you. And then for our Wildwood Tarot cards, we also have 3 cards for each pile. So that's going to explain why you act the way you do, or it's going to be, oh my god, I almost forgot my own spread. So the 3 cards for the Wildwood Tarot is going to be, the first card is going to be telling you what your shadow self is trying to tell you. So if you act out in ways that you don't like, or ways that you later regret, what is it trying to work through? The second would be what is the root cause of this problem, the root cause of this issue. It could be something from your childhood, or things that happened a while back. Maybe not for all of you, but I feel like in most cases that's where it kind of stems from. And the third is what you or your shadow self or subconscious is ignoring. So basically this kind of gives you like the overall picture, kind of gives you like a perspective from someone else's viewpoint. So maybe your shadow self is working or acting out in a way, or you are acting out in a way that you don't really like, because you have this subconscious belief that this is what you should expect. However, this gives you another perspective. So again, piles number 1, 2, and 3. And as usual, feel free to choose all 3 if you want, or just 2, whatever works for you. And I almost forgot, pile number 1 is this labradorite piece here. It is broken because I dropped it. This rock, I think, for pile number 2. And another pendulum that I also dropped and broke a piece of for pile number 3. Alright, gonna move on to pile number 1 in just a few moments. Alright, pile number 1 for the labradorite piece here. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the hawk card. Hawks and other birds of prey usually have really good eyesight. You can also see it's perched really high up here. So usually this card represents someone who's either looking at the big picture or they see a lot of details. However, I feel like a lot of you here may not be expressing yourself, or you're not really conveying what you want to say. Maybe you're around people that don't let you speak up. This could be an issue that you need to work on yourself. For some of you, it could be that you're around toxic people. However, with the Wanderer card, you can see that this is someone who's about to step off a cliff. It is equivalent to the Fool card, so it does feel like this represents someone who just makes decisions without really thinking about it. And because this is a root cause for why your shadow self is acting this way, it could be that you're used to following what other people say, or that you're more comfortable with following what other people say. And with these affirmations here, especially this one, where authenticity illuminates the truth in others, you're being encouraged to follow your own lead and be more yourself. So this card is the root cause, but this card is also what you're ignoring, or it's kind of contributing to some of your subconscious beliefs. So it kind of gives you, sorry, this one here. So this is what you're ignoring. This is what gives you that, this is kind of what contributes to your subconscious beliefs. So with the Heron card upright, this can represent someone who's about to take that next step, especially with that foot kind of about to go in the water there. And usually the king cards in this deck, at least for me, symbolizes leaders, whether that's people that are natural leaders or they take positions of people that are leaders, or they're just people that just take charge in their own life in general. But in reverse, it would kind of be the opposite. I feel like what you're ignoring is your ability to do things without the presence or the validation of other people. So going back to these affirmations, I don't need to have all the answers. I don't need to have all the answers. My heart knows the way. I am unshakable when I'm in true alignment. So it is really encouraging you to be yourself, follow your own lead, and don't rely on others for validation or clarification, or, you know, don't wait on others to see if they say yes or no. It is okay to ask for help, but don't depend on them for everything, especially when it comes to wondering if you should or shouldn't do something, unless of course that something results in harming others. But I feel like you guys have enough common sense to figure that out. For self-care, we have look for fairies. Fairies, based on what I looked up, can symbolize freedom amongst many other things. I feel like it's saying to follow what you like to do rather than doing something what others expect of you. Do what you love. I also feel like this is saying to try and figure out what you don't like doing. This isn't really about cutting ties with people unless they really are toxic. You can have people that surround you and support you, but make sure it is with the right people. I also feel like the fairy card is saying that look for things that you like to do, even if it sounds unrealistic to other people, or even if other people think that it's kind of silly, or, you know, if they don't really get it. But again, it really wants you to take this belief here and switch that around. So that was pile number 1. If any of that resonated, please leave a comment down below. If it didn't apply, let it fly. And please also like the video because it tremendously helps me out and my channel out. Also have my Instagram down below for other readings and tarot updates. I try to do free readings at least once a week, but I do have other things I have to attend to in my life. However, if you want to know when I open the free readings, I only do that through my Instagram, so be sure to follow me down there. And when I'm not doing free readings, you can also check out my Etsy down below. And I'm going to move on to pile number 2. Alright, pile number 2 with this rock, I guess. Okay. So before I start this, if you guys haven't seen pile number 1, I feel like that one is pretty similar to this one, so feel free to check that one out too. So with the Stag card, honestly I don't remember if this is in reverse or not, but it doesn't matter for this one. But I feel like it's saying to stand your ground and don't be easily swayed. This is what your shadow self wants you to work on. The Stag is usually a person in power or a position of power. For most of you guys, it's more about self-confidence, knowing what you want, and knowing what you want to stand for. The Creativity card in reverse is the root cause of certain behaviors that can be, and I feel like this can be pretty much taken at face value. It feels like some of you here had your creativity stifled by others. This isn't exclusively for artists, but just how you express yourself in general, or how you want to kind of convey your message. And maybe for some of you, people would make decisions for you. However, with the frustration card, I'm getting that with the image here, I'm getting the message has to do with going out of your comfort zone. For some of you, I'm getting the message you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, but overall I feel like it's saying that what you've been doing or you want to do, and even if you deemed it as a failure or a possible failure, doesn't mean that you're never meant to do that. Just some things take a little bit more work. With your affirmations here, I acknowledge my fear and allow it to flow through me. Fear might have a lesson for me, but love is what drives me. And then we have, I see the light and choose to respond in His loving presence. So again, if you recently went through a failure, or maybe some of you are kind of expecting a failure or expecting something to not follow through, don't let that scare you away. Don't let that failure or the expected failure be a sign that you should or shouldn't do something. Take it as a lesson or evaluate what you still need to learn. So if you're kind of in a stage where you think that something's gonna fail, maybe work through what it is that you need to work on. Or maybe, for example, you feel that you don't have this one thing right. Maybe look for resources that can help you out, that can help you learn through that. And basically shift your mentality from a place of fear to a place that comes from love. For self-care, we have connect with crystals, chanting, and be still. So I feel like all of these are different ways to meditate, especially meditate to connect with your higher self or your guides or whatever it is. I feel like this is telling you to kind of center and ground yourself and connect with your higher guides or your higher self. Kind of connect yourself into this stag energy to a person who has a lot of power, a lot of self-confidence. They know what they want. They stand their own ground. And just to reiterate the self-care oracle cards, kind of see the silver lining. I feel like that's what it's saying. This isn't saying if you went through something bad to kind of trick yourself into seeing it as a good thing, but it is saying to kind of take lessons from what you learned here. And really work through this creativity card in reverse energy and just kind of flip it around like that. And of course, and again, center down, meditate, connect with your higher self, connect with your angels or guardians, patrons, whatever it is that you connect to, that can help you shift into this energy here. So that was group number 2. If that resonated with you, please leave a comment down below. If it didn't apply, let it fly. And please consider liking the video because it does help me out tremendously and this channel out. I also have an Instagram down below for for free readings. I try to do them at least once a week, but I do have other things that kind of get in the way. I only post when I do them on Instagram, so be sure to follow me down there. And if you want to have free readings, if you want to have personal readings, I do have my Etsy down below, so be sure to check that out as well. Alright, pile number 3, for those of you guys who chose this pendulum here. So we're going to start off with the endurance card, for what your shadow self is trying to tell you, or what you need to work through. We're going to start off with this endurance card, for what your shadow self is trying to tell you, or what you need to work through. You can sort of see that this person here is kind of poking at the fire. So I'm getting the message that this is about feeling like you have to do all these things, or like you're waiting for this opportunity, but you can't wait, so you feel like you have to do all these things and just kind of do the most, I feel like some of you may feel kind of lazy and you're just kind of sitting there, or maybe that you missed certain opportunities with the other card. I feel like this is again about those missed opportunities. For the root cause, I feel like some of you were waiting for some opportunity to come by and it just never happened, and that could have resulted in disappointment or disappointment in the situation, or maybe disappointment in yourself. You feel like you kind of waste your time just kind of like poking at a fire, just kind of like idling by, or just kind of like sitting there. However, if you look carefully at this card, you have to realize that this person also built that fire there. That fire didn't come from nothing. That fire didn't just come out of nowhere. No, this person actually tending to the fire. You have to get, things kind of take some time to build up. You have to get the kindling, the wood, you have to make sure it's set up right. So this person here, they're not just poking at nothing. They built this and they're just tending to it. If that makes any sense. You don't have to go out and do the most or have this hustle and grind mentality, just work 24/7 without any rest. Things do take their time. Things take some time to naturally progress and to transpire. Overall, it is time to not give up. Don't expect things to just happen all at once. Just because you make this change or this shift in your life, it doesn't mean that the next day is going to be completely different. Be patient and just, kind of tend to things like a little bit at a time. Take it one step at a time. You don't have to do the most, and you don't have to do it alone, especially. So with this card, the bottom card in reverse, again, this is telling you what your shadow self is ignoring. Again, you don't have to force yourself into this hustle and grind work method if that's not for you. For some of you, that could be it. So for some of you, that mentality, that work method could work. But for others, even for people like me, that's just not realistic unless I'm hyper-focusing on something that I really like. But most of the time, personally for me, I like the Pomodoro method, which is, you work for a certain amount of time, you focus for a certain amount of time, and you take a break for a certain amount of time, you work for a certain amount of time. So give yourself breaks and just take it one step at a time. Just do little by little. You don't have to do all these things at once. Recently, I made a schedule where I want to do like 3 different things in one day, but I later quickly found out that that just wasn't for me, and that's okay for me. I just had to revamp my schedule and see what works for me instead of trying to stress myself out and do all these things at once. And one of my friends sent me this post by Jeannie Aiko. But basically she was saying that you don't have to do all these things at once. You don't have to, make that hit song. You don't have to like write that best-selling novel in this time, especially, or even though we're in this time where some of us have a lot of time to do things, you don't have to feel pressure to, make that happen all at once. And yeah, you don't have to do the most. You don't have to like struggle out there. You don't have to, stress yourself out. Again, you don't have to do it alone. So ask for help, look for mentors, find a support group, or just be around people that are in a similar position and they have similar goals as well. And for your affirmations or messages, we have, I trust that though I may not see it now, there is a greater lesson for me in this. So yeah, going back to the other card for your missed opportunities. So I feel like this could be saying that whatever this opportunity was, maybe it just wasn't for you, or maybe that there are better things coming along for you. And I'm deeply grounded yet flow with the winds of change. So again, like I've been saying before, just let things transpire naturally. Let things build up little by little. It's kind of like that domino effect, or just things just pile on one after the other. So yeah, keep yourself grounded, just let things naturally progress. And again, don't feel like you have to like make this 180 change in one day. And as for your self-care oracle, we have watch a movie and connect with animals. So I feel like these are some ways that you can just relax, take a break, watch or do things that you enjoy. Maybe you just go out in nature, take a walk. Of course, if that's like safe for you at this time. Or you can just, watch a movie, take your mind off of things, watch something fun, play with your pets. You don't have to be in this 24/7 work method. We're just hustling, grinding all the time. It is okay to take a rest. It is okay to kind of feel lazy sometimes, or kind of be lazy sometimes. Let yourself recharge, and just let things naturally transpire. And I know I'm like kind of repeating myself, but I just want to kind of like reiterate that and kind of really send that message there. So that was pile number 3. If any of that resonated, please leave a comment down below. If it didn't apply, let it fly. Please like the video because it helps me out tremendously and it helps my channel out. I also have Instagram down below for free readings. I try to do them once a week, but I do have other things in my life that I had to attend to. But if you want to know when I do open up free readings, be sure to follow my Instagram down below because that's only where I update if they're open or closed or not. And if I'm not doing free readings, and if you want a personal one, I do have my Etsy down below. So that was the end of the reading. Hope that resonated with you. Again, if it didn't apply, let it fly. And I'll see you next time.